Hey guys, now that Dragon Ball Super has come to an end, we are going to be covering a lot more characters from this series, starting with Beerus, the God of Destruction. And if you guys want us to cover any of your favorite characters, then make sure to put it down in the comment section below, as we will be making a poll to help us decide the next 10 things you didn't know. And guys, a quick disclaimer, I might butcher some pronunciations here and there, so please bear that in mind. And make sure to show us some love by smashing that like button, subscribe and hit that notification bell. With that, let's get started. Ever since his introduction, Beerus' name had been a hot topic within the Dragon Ball community, where at one point he was referred to as Bills for the English dub, and fans didn't really know what to call him. But don't worry guys, I'll be explaining it all. During the early conception for Battle of Gods movie, scriptwriter Yusuke Watanabe had written a scenario in which Beerus, or Birusu in Japanese, was actually the one responsible for infecting the Saiyans with evil. So Watanabe envisioned the antagonist of the movie to be similar to a virus, and this was where the pun source came from, as the Japanese name Birusu is a pun on the German pronunciation of virus. However, when Akira Toriyama came on board and switched up a great deal of the film's backstory, he mistook the pun source for Birusu, thinking it came from the alcoholic beverage beer. He then followed naming Whis after another alcoholic beverage, whiskey. Toriyama still follows with this pun he mistook and continues with the naming convention, hence the name Champa and Vados. Now, before the source of the pun was disclosed to the public, one of the transliterated names to come out from Birusu was Bills, since it's technically an accurate transliteration of the name. However, while accurate as far as the romanization of the name is concerned, it doesn't represent either of the puns at all, and hence not accurate in that regard. When the official promotional pamphlets that came with the Battle of Gods movie was distributed, it labeled Beerus' name as Beers, firmly establishing that his name in Japanese isn't Bills but Beers. However, when it was being dubbed by Fun Animation, voice director Christopher Sabat fought for the name Beerus rather than Beers, as he felt it sounded more classier and it was more readily marketable and searchable compared to the alcoholic beverage beer. So yeah, Bills was never really an official translation, but was formulated from the attempts to translate the name Birusu without having any information needed to make a more accurate one. Now, although the idea of Beerus was already conceptualized by scriptwriter Yusuke Watanabe, when Toriyama came into the picture for his input, he changed a lot of the initial conception, to the point where Beerus was technically not even the Beerus Watanabe came up with. As mentioned earlier, Watanabe planned Beerus' character to be an antagonist who had a lot to do with infecting the hearts of others with evil, but that wasn't the only difference. Beerus' design was also initially mapped out to look like a lizard. That's right guys, try to imagine a reptile version of Beerus. To be honest, I'm actually glad they didn't stick with that. Toriyama changed his design completely from looking like a reptilian to a cat. Now, in an interview when Toriyama was asked why was Beerus made to look like a cat, he responded with, "Actually, I created a lot of gods. I thought a god like him was more interesting than a humanoid. The cat god is from ancient Egypt, so I got the idea from those gods." So yeah, Beerus' physical design takes inspiration from ancient Egyptian deities, notably Anubis and Sekhmet. But another reason, and one of Toriyama's main inspiration for this design, came from an old Cornish Rex cat living with him, and after the cat became seriously ill, the vet declared it did not have much longer to live, but the cat miraculously recovered, and the vet joked that it might be some kind of demon. Toriyama also mentioned that his previous cat was the inspiration for Korin, so I guess he didn't want this new cat to be left out. Alright, so we know Beerus is extremely strong, as he is after all the god of destruction of Universe 7, possessing godly powers giving him the ability to destroy galaxies if not a whole universe. Beerus also has longevity of life, making him an eternal being, so he is pretty overpowered character, and to keep balance in the universe, his life is linked to his shins, the supreme Kai of Universe 7, meaning that if one of them dies, the other will die as well. This is in order to prevent an imbalance between the natural forces of creation and destruction that Beerus and Shin represent. Now, before Super storyline was mapped out, and after the Battle of Gods movie, V-Jump noted that Beerus is without a doubt the strongest character in the history of Dragon Ball franchise. And in an interview with Toriyama, he stated that Beerus is the strongest in the universe and that there is nothing higher. However, as Super begun, Beerus' title as the strongest warrior was revoked with the introduction of newer characters, along with the revelation of his attendant and martial arts master Whis being stronger than him. It is even noted in the anime universe survival saga that Beerus is not the strongest warrior in the whole universe, as there are individuals besides the angels who are stronger than a god of destruction. Whis also states that Beerus once lost an arm wrestling match against one of the other gods of destruction. In chapter 28 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, it was revealed that the one who won against him was Universe Force God of Destruction Quintilla. However, Beerus is still considered to be one of the strongest gods amongst the others and is said to have the ability of Ultra Instinct but yet to master it. And in the manga, Beerus is also shown to hold his own against all the other gods when they attacked him together, so potentially he could be the strongest gods amongst all the other gods. In another interview, Toriyama stated that in the terms of power, Super Saiyan God Goku would be a 6, Beerus would be a 10, and Whis would be a 15. And according to the Dragon Ball Super rival danger skill, Beerus ranks 9 out of 12. Toriyama also noted that Beerus could destroy the Supreme Kai's realms if he wanted to, which is said to be around 1/10 of the size of the entire Universe 7. This confirms that Beerus is actually a galaxy buster and potentially a universe buster. Have you guys ever wondered why Beerus even needs an attendant, or why Toriyama usually introduced his characters with companions? Well, in an interview when Toriyama was asked, why did you create Whis? He said that within Dragon Ball he has a tendency of introducing a group or 2 people for character building, so there won't be a need for much narrations as the characters would be able to bounce off each other. Toriyama mentioned that he'd done this with his first set of characters, Goku and Bulma. Other examples were Roshi and his turtle, Yamcha and his talking cat, Tien and Chaozu, Vegeta and Nappa, Kubita and Supreme Kai, and so on and so forth. You guys get my point, right? He went on to allude that Whis' existence was primarily for Beerus' character development and to give us, the audience, a better understanding of Beerus. Toriyama goes on to say, for parts like where Beerus wakes up for the first time in 39 years, Whis clarifies things for the sake of explanation and there isn't a need for narration. This is an OG technique used by story writers, but yeah, to sum it up, without Beerus there would be no Whis. Alright, we know that Beerus is pretty much overpowered and doesn't really need to fuse with any other characters from the series, but it still would be fun to witness him in a fusion, and as luck has it, you can in the Dragon Ball Fusion game. With the help of the Metamo rings, Beerus is shown to be fused with a couple of other characters, for instance, Whirus, who is the X-fusion between Beerus and Whis. Now that is one overpowered character, like who can actually beat it? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, maybe even suggest a worthy opponent that could pose Whirus a challenge. There is also Gorus, who is the X-fusion between Goku and Beerus, and to be fair, this fusion is as OP as Whirus. Lastly, there is Kibarushin. I probably messed up that pronunciation, but that's the X-fusion between Kubita Kai and Beerus. Now I doubt we will ever get to see these fusions in the series. Like, come on, imagine if these gods actually fused with each other. I wonder if they could pose a threat to the other angels or even Xeno himself. Let me know what you guys think and write down what's your favorite fusion in the comment section below. Now, you guys might be wondering why the events of Super and the introduction of Beerus along with the other deities occurred right after the last episode of Dragon Ball Z and only a couple of years after the Buu saga. Well, in an interview, Toriyama stated that he didn't want to change anything from his previous storyline and wanted to start the new story when everyone were at their strongest. But as Beerus is literally a force that affects the entire fabric of the universe, Toriyama used Beerus' character to explain the events previously left ambiguous. For instance, Beerus is revealed to be the one who sealed the Elder Kai into the Z-Sword, which wasn't really elaborated in the Z series, and Beerus is also the one who destroyed North Kai's planet 327 years ago, leaving King Kai with only the small planet where he lives now. Other relationships between past characters were also developed, like the fact that Beerus had met King Vegeta and recruited the Saiyans led by him to obtain the universe's most comfortable pillow. However, as Beerus stated, he was tricked and only given the second most comfortable pillow, so he punished King Vegeta and at one point even used him as a stool. It is suggested that Beerus was also the one who encouraged Frieza to destroy planet Vegeta by giving him his approval, telling Frieza he would not interfere. Now, although Beerus' introduction may have added some background to the past, it also came with some inaccuracies, and an example of this is when Beerus claimed that he once went to the Earth and dinosaurs took a rude attitude towards him, so he wiped them out. But in the Dragon Ball universe, dinosaurs still exist on planet Earth. In fact, a dinosaur can briefly be seen during Beerus' fight with Super Saiyan God Goku in the film Battle of Gods, in which Beerus originally made that claim, directly contradicting his earlier statement in the film. However, this discrepancy can be explained if you consider that Dr. Slump shares the same universe with Dragon Ball, as in the Dr. Slump chapter Hello Moon, it is explained why dinosaurs coexist with humans. When Ariel Norimaki used the time slippers to travel back to the prehistoric ages to prevent the dinosaurs from going extinct, she did this by pushing a falling meteorite back into space. This meteorite was more likely sent by Beerus. For the Japanese dub, Beerus is voiced by Koichi Yamadara, the same dude who voiced Togusa from Ghost in the Shell, Ryuji Kaji from Neon Genesis, and Spike Spiegel, yes my boy Spike from Cowboy Bebop, along with the voices of many other characters. For the English Funimation dub, Beerus is voiced by Jason Douglas. Now some of you might know him for playing Tobin from the Walking Dead series, but he is also the voice behind Kuzan Okiji from One Piece, Gilhart from Fairy Tail, Gato from Parasite, along with voicing many other characters. A fun thing to note is that in an interview, Douglas mentioned that under instructions of voice director Christopher Sabat, he was believed that Beerus' voice should sound similar in tone to Douglas's prior role in Borderlands 2 as Krieg, and if you guys listen to Krieg and then compare him side by side with Beerus, you can definitely see the similarities in tone.
I'm here to shank and smile! It's time to bleed! Who's ready to fillet some scalps?
Beerus, god of destruction.
If you guys go back to our 10 things you didn't know about Yamcha, you would know that Yamcha has a spin-off manga called The Case of Being Reincarnated as Yamcha, where a young boy falls down the stairs and is reincarnated as Yamcha. But because he reads the manga, he knows what happens, so he is able to become the strongest warrior in the series. Now as the manga progressed, it was revealed that Beerus and Champa was behind the reincarnation, and Yamcha wasn't the only reincarnated person, but another avid Dragon Ball fan had been reincarnated as Chiatsu. What happened was, at some point after the Tournament of Destroyers, but just before the Tournament of Power, Beerus and Champa held a reincarnation game, with Beerus betting on Yamcha, while Champa bets on Chiatsu. However, Beerus becomes frustrated when Yamcha decides not to defeat Chiatsu, but instead become friends with him. He then destroys their reincarnation game, ending it, and freezing its 2 participants. This spin-off is actually pretty dope, so make sure to read it if you guys can. Now since Beerus' introduction, apart from his first few bouts with the Z Fighters, we haven't really seen much from him. Beerus' longest fight in Super was against Super Saiyan God Goku, which lasted up to 5 episodes, but unfortunately there ain't much from him after that. However, if you lot want to see more of him in action, then you can, as Beerus has appeared in several Dragon Ball games, the first being Dragon Ball Heroes, and a fun thing is in this game, Beerus going angry is considered a transformation called Rage. In this transformation, Beerus changes his demeanor and has a purple aura around himself, which looks very similar to how he was in the Battle of Gods movie. Beerus is also present in other games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 and 2, and he can be even unlocked as a master. Alright guys, it's time for a blazing round. It is noted that Beerus was born over 75 million years ago before age 778, making him one of the oldest characters in the series. Beerus is said to be approximately around 5 feet 4 inches tall without his ears, and around 6 feet 2 inches tall with his ears. Beerus' 2 sole desires are enjoying the universe's finest cooking and fighting opponents whom he considers to be worthy. Beerus was going to fight the Z Fighters with a spoon or fork, but the Battle of God animation director Tadayoshi Yamamuro thought it would be hard for him to fight like that, so he suggested switching it to chopsticks. Beerus' pet, the Oracle Fish, resembles a slime from the video game series Dragon Quest, which Akira Toriyama did the artwork for. In the movies Battle of Gods and the Resurrection of F, Beerus appears to behave in a more polite, respectful and patient manner than he is in the Dragon Ball Super series, where his personality is 360 in comparison. With that, we pretty much summed up Beerus. If there was anything I missed, make sure to put it down in the comment section below, along with your choice of characters for us to cover next. If you guys like this video, please show us by smashing that like button, and remember to follow us on our social media platforms to keep updated. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.